Now let's see also what else can we do with our dictionaries. The other thing we can do with our dictionaries, we can also go ahead and update certain value. Let's say we are deep in our program and we realize, okay, we need to update our bank value. My dictionary in this case, dot update, and you can see right away, the moment I type up, it just goes and knows, oh, you probably mean update value. And look what's happening here. Again, we will talk about this into more details later. Right now, just follow along, okay? If you don't understand, it's all good. So it says here update value, but inside there are values that we are supposed to pass in. In this case, it's saying the value, we need to pass a value, and then we also have to pass the key that we want to change, okay? So in this case, let's say if the value we want to change is, instead of saying money, we want to say security or something like that. And the key, well, what we want to change, we have to say, let's go back, is bank, right? So we have bank here. So what we just did here, we just said we want to go ahead, instead of having money as the value of our bank, for our bank here, key, we want it to actually be security. Let's see if this works. Let's go and say print my dictionary here, my dictionary. Let's see what's going to happen. Aha, look here to the right. We still have MT, Montana. Bank now does not say money. Instead, it says security, which is exactly what we wanted, because we said here the value, it's going to change, be updated to security for which key? For bank. And of course, again, we can do the same to our int. We can say my int dictionary dot update what the value. Well, we want to update to 980, for instance. What is the key? Let's say we want to change the 7 to 8 here. So the key is 3, so we have to put 3 here. And let's go ahead and print my int dictionary. Instead of 7 to 8, it should say 980. Let's see. Indeed, 3 says here 980. Great. I'm hoping you can start seeing here all the things you can do with dictionaries and arrays. Very powerful. So many things we can do. And as we proceed in this course, I will show you, you will see all of these being put into place, where things are going to start making sense as to why we are even talking about these things. Okay? Good. Perfect. All right. The same thing here, what we can also do, since we are updating, guess what? We can also remove items from our dictionaries. How do we do that? Well, following our examples here, let's go ahead and keep using my dictionary. All right, so my dictionary, there it is. We're going to go ahead and say dot remove. At this point, we're going to use the remove value for key. So we're using a key. So click on that one and say enter. So we want to remove a key, which means we'll also remove the value. Now you will say, well, since it's only removing the key, why is it removing the value? Well, the reason why if you remove the key, it removes the value is because the whole idea of having this key pair association is so that we have that association, that connection between the key and the value, right? Which means if we want to remove the value, we go and remove the key, because key is totally connected to the value. But that's the whole point of having this key pair value. One doesn't exist without the other, right? So if we want to remove the value, we go ahead, we go after the key. All right. So in this case, let's say if we want to remove, let's see what we would want to remove. Let's remove the security again. Well, the key is bank. So what do we do here? We say bank and we close. So it says here security, which means that's exactly what was removed. Now let's make sure it's true. Indeed, that was removed. Let's print this out and make sure it's true. Let's go and say print my dictionary. Indeed, there's no more bank here. And we can do the same, of course, with our integers. We can go ahead and say my int dictionary dot remove, right? Value for key. And we pass, let's say we want to remove this 5 key here, which is the one we inserted earlier. We can just go ahead and put 5 in there. And it should say here 456 indeed. And let's print that out. My int dictionary. And we should see here, there's no more 456, nor is there 5 key. So great. So we've learned a lot in this lecture here. So I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. The main thing I want you to get out of this lecture here about dictionary is that they are key value association, right? So we have here bank, which associates to money, meaning that if I want to access money, I go after the bank. Okay, that's all that's happening here. Just think of bank points to money. That's all what's happening. Great. Well, now the other thing I want you to do, again, go ahead and play around with this concept here. Remove value for key. Go ahead and explore other methods, other things you can do with the dictionaries. For instance, here my int dictionary dot. For instance, let's go and find, let's say the boolean is empty. What does that do? Let's get that one and see up. What does it say? It's going to say false, which means this my dictionary that is empty is asking whether or not the dictionary is empty, and it returns false because indeed my dictionary is not empty. Why? Well, my dictionary has things inside of it. Okay, so go ahead and explore this. Not that you won't break anything. Don't be afraid of exploring and trying and learning, because the more you explore, the more you learn. All right, so well, great job, and I'll see you in the next lecture.